everyone, this is Tim, and today is going to be a video in place of my actual play audio recordings of my Lamentations of the Flame Princess game. I had a program called Callgraph, and for some reason it was buggy as hell recording my session, and we were sort of playing, it was messing up the audio, and after a while I just gave up. There were a few like 1-minute sections of the audio that, I was able to record, but sometimes it would cut off the end of it or the beginning. I really didn't find much in there that was of interest. I'm going to go through the audio again just to double check. Maybe I'll tag something on the end of this video just so you can listen in. But yeah, for the most part, I'm just going to go through and just tell you a little bit about what happened in the last session. And maybe in the future I'll just summarize everything. But we'll see. I pretty much just want to just put out the actual audio of it, and just if you guys want to listen in, that's fine. I know I'm not a real big fan of listening in on other people's games, but I do have some subscribers that are they seem to like my game, so I just put them up for them, really. Okay, so there were 4 characters that played. Temper, played by Carl or Natural 20 Films. Rayhan, which was played by Zig Copacetic. Ramelzi, played by Jeremiah or Ghoster74. And Bo, Bombrador, the Half-Beard, he's played by Tom Ray. And Tom is pretty much from the Facebook YouTube RPG Brigade, that's where I know him from. And I just noticed in the comments that a lot of what he said I agreed with, and things that I said he agreed with. He just seemed like someone whose ideas sort of meshed well with mine. And I threw the invitation out to him, and he played, and it was awesome. He did a great job. So Tom, if you're watching, thanks for playing. It was a lot of fun. So the group had met for breakfast after some various other adventures, and they had survived all these other things. And Bo had come from the dwarf, had come from outside of town. He was in the last town that all the other adventurers were in before this, and he had just now gotten around to coming and meeting with them. He had been spending some time drinking and whoring and doing other things like that in the last town. So he eventually showed up and heard a lot of tales of things that have been happening in this strange town of Pembrooktonshire. He couldn't really tell what the actual name of the place was. People kept messing it up. But yeah, they talked, and the Ramelzi brought out the sword of this angel creature that they had interacted with, discussed things with. And they told him the tale of how this sword, the blade of the sword is light, and it only comes out in the presence of either the demon responsible for producing these kids or the kids themselves. They're basically this like half devil demon slash kids, and they had killed one of them. So they talked about how this child was born every single day, and the mother killed it every single day, but then she gave birth to another one. So there's all these lots of disturbing tales that they were telling. Wait, you talked to an angel and then you killed kids? What happened here? So Bo was just already realizing that things are going very strange. While they were discussing things and eating some stew, having some breakfast, they saw this deformed, crazed man who had climbed this platform in the center, like town square sort of. And this is where the body of Jessica was. And they were telling Bo that they were getting paid to find the killer, kill the killer, and hopefully rescue the gypsies that were being blamed. Well, they had let the gypsies out, so that was part of it. And now they saw this man climbing up there, and wait, what was this? He was eating the flesh of the dead woman. So crows were up there pecking at her skin and flesh and carrying it off, and whatever was left, he was eating. So this was very disturbing to them. So they ran out, yelled at him, tried to, see what was going on. And the man sort of was very submissive. He laid down his arms in front of him and put his head down. And they saw all kinds of whip marks on his arms. And after some time, they talked to him, and the man was crazed. He was saying things like he was allowed to. The spirits of the mountains are the ones that he answers to. He kept saying things like that. I'm allowed to. Then he would really just try to get away from them and shove his face in the back. The spirits are allowed! You know, stuff like that. So, needless to say, they were a little freaked out. The Beau especially was disturbed by this presence of this man eating week-old flesh that's been on a platform for crows to eat. So, you know, there's probably like, bird feces in the mix too. So, yeah, it was very disturbing. They went to the assistant constable, who is there, and he's taking over the constable's job. The constable's been on vacation this whole time. He doesn't know what he's doing. He lets the player characters get away with murder in a lot of ways. Like, he just, they're deputies now, and he really isn't sure what to do with them or how to tell them no. But he's been very supportive of them. So he informed them that this man is the Sin Eater of town. He said that the All, which is this monotheistic deity, takes the good parts via the crows, and the crows fly this flesh off to the hereafter. All that remained is the sinful, the damned portion of that individual. And this guy was the 4th generation Sin Eater of the town. So he wanders in from the mountains where he supposedly talks with the spirits, and he just, eats the flesh, and that is his job. He is damned because he eats this damned flesh, basically. So the party was kind of disturbed, and at the same time, they're like, well, if that's the religion and faith of this, I guess, but they weren't really sure what to do. It was sort of a situation where they wanted to stop him, but they let him go and let him do it. Later, this man he basically came up to him and told them about how this woman's soul was black as pitch. And they were like, wait, we heard this Jessica was, she was going to get married. She seemed like a decent, average person. And he said something that she wasn't a person. She wasn't a human, that she was from the outer void, something like that. And they were kind of confused. And there's been lots of questions. Whenever they finish something, there's like 3 more questions that pop up. So the group isn't really sure what to do or where to go now. But there was the Sin Eater. And then the Knight's Men, there's a knight in town who is very much self-righteous, very judgmental, and he also represents the law of the area. So whatever he says goes. So he's judge, jury, and executioner. He's a lot of fun to play, by the way, because his self-righteousness is like a shield that nothing can get past. Logic doesn't matter, all that sort of thing. But they had gone off to find these gypsies that were blamed for Jessica's murder, and the party, Ramelzi in particular, freed them. So they were very happy about that. They were going to kill all the gypsies, all the kids, everybody, the whole tribe, basically. But they released them. Well, the knight wasn't very happy about that. So him and his men and his squire went off to try to rescue them. Well, not rescue them, but try to capture them and bring them to justice. Well, they learned that, they did capture most of them. They killed a lot of them. Although it seems like the children might have gotten away. So I guess that was like a little bright spot in the darkness. So this Jessica murder that they're trying to, solve, they pretty much came to the conclusion that the squire was the one that did this. There was lots of evidence. There was a bumblebee bandit costume, a bumblebee bandit chest of books, and all these different sorts of evidence that was laying around. There was blood on the suit. The squire had these books. The squire is known to be very flirtatious with all the other sisters at the bookbinder where they produced these books. So there's lots of evidence that eventually pointed to the squire. So they wanted to take him out. So when the Knight's Men got back, they set up this ambush for him. They had convinced the priest, Cantrovius, that travels with this knight, to set up the squire and then also provide a distraction. So whenever the squire would go out to the outhouse, he would fall into the trap set by the priest, and then the party would come up and kill him. Well, the plan went perfectly. Cantrovius alerted them when the squire was going out to the outhouse with his Bumblebee Bandit trashy pulp magazines. If you think romance novel and like adult magazine, that's kind of what these are like. With maybe like swashbuckling Zorro thrown in for good measure. So he's going out to the outhouse to go to the bathroom, and he goes in there. He basically falls into the seat. Rayhan, which is Zig's character, stabbed him through the throat, vicious wound, and this black ichor came out of his throat. If he would have been a normal man, it would have killed him. Well, what happened was inside this person was this black tentacled thing without a head that just split him wide open, blew the outhouse apart. Rayhan was thrown backwards, but managed to land on his feet. So they had this horrible writhing mass of tentacles that was flopping all over the place. Definitely something they did not expect. Ramalzi had postulated that perhaps the squire was the father of all of these half-devil, half-demon kids in town. And it seemed like that might have some credence after they encountered this thing. So they ended up, the light of the sword from the angelic creature lit up, and they were able to kill it, but not before the creature was able to kill most of the knight's men, rip the priest in half, and almost killed Temper of the Second Wind. That's Carl's character, Natural 20 Films. So it was a very violent encounter, kind of a surprise encounter. They all the cards were in their favor until they killed him, and then things just went wildly out of control. They learned that Sadie was the author of the Bumblebee Bandit books, and they're starting to wonder if there's any connection to the demon and this thing. Maybe there's some connection there with the author. They're not sure. They're kind of wondering why a demon would be so interested in these sorts of books, but maybe the demon was a lusty demon, and it literally just enjoyed the stories. They weren't really sure. So yeah, those of the Outer Dark. That's another thing they were concerned about. Again, with that woman, Jessica, that was murdered. She wasn't human, so made them wonder, like, well, who are those of the Outer Dark? Are there some like evil deities out there, demons, something like that? So they were wondering about that too. They then went to Jessica's mother, Clementine, who also proved to be very flirtatious and lusty herself. They were paid well. They told her that the gypsies were released. They neglected to say that the gypsies were again captured and killed, but that was part of their that's what they had to do to get their reward, basically. So they got 500 silver pieces from her. So they were pretty good about that. They managed to convince the knight that he was perhaps wrong in some respects, but he basically said he was wrong through ignorance, so he should not be blamed. But he basically killed a family of gypsies in cold blood, and they were innocent. So he is now awaiting his judgment in jail. The assistant constable does not want to talk to him. Again, he is not a very good law person. He's there with the title, but he's not very good at it. So perhaps when the constable gets back, things will get done. But the knight is threatening that the order of the Spirit Knights is going to come down on the town and get him out of there and basically judge them for holding him guilty when he obviously was not. Things like that. So they got him in jail. There was one of the daughters of the bookbinders, the sister of the dead woman Jessica, Lily, who took a very keen interest in the dwarf. She seems to like exotic people. She was very into the gypsies when they were in town, and now she's very into the dwarf. So there was sort of an open-ended thing there where Lily went to the dwarf's room at the last stop in to spend some time with him. At the very end, they were also kind of curious about a few other things. Temper was supposed to have a duel with this knight, who is now in jail, for the innocence of the witch. Sort of like a trial by combat sort of thing, to see if she was innocent or not. But, now things are sort of up in the air. They're not really sure if that's going to happen. Probably not now, it looks like. But they're not sure, like, is this woman a witch? Temper seems to think that there's something otherworldly about her, but he really isn't sure. He can't put his finger on it. During the combat, the invisible boy Owen, who apparently no one in town can see except for these outsiders, ran off to get help, and he never returned. So there's a few dangling question marks as far as how this is going, but they were able to wrap the murder mystery to a close. They killed the assailant, the murderer, and found out that it wasn't human, or at least there was something not human inside of him, and that was the squire. So that's pretty much what happened in the session. I jotted down some notes. I'm usually pretty bad about taking notes as a GM, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Hopefully next time the audio program will work. Hopefully it won't mess up the audio or just pause and stop recording. I was getting really frustrated, and that was actually the frustration with the technology, I think, was getting in the way of me running my game. So, but it is what it is. It's a medium to play where I otherwise could not. So I appreciate it. So thanks to Carl, Zig, Jeremiah, and Tom for playing. I had a lot of fun. I'll let you guys know when the next time we can get together. We usually play about 2 Saturdays a month, but it seems to be kind of random depending on when the neighbors can watch my son. All right, thanks for listening in. I'll talk to you guys later. He's putting her remains in a sack basically, and he's starting to climb down from the top.
I'm looking at the map right now. Is that in the main square there?
Yeah, that's in the circle. Like it's like town circle basically, town center.
Okay.
So yeah, there's basically like this big tall pole structure with a flat top, and yeah, there's like crows and stuff. It seemed kind of strange to you. You never seen anything like that before. You thought it was probably some sort of punishment, but yeah, it's actually a funeral service. So.
Rayhan, I have a sickening feeling that to witness this body not being laid to rest properly, and this man dissembling and collecting disturbs me. Should we question him?
I'll squint and I'll move over there to take a look, and I'll squint an eye, and that man's.
Remove yourself. Drop that.
And he seems to.
Warning now.
He looks down and he shrugs and climbs down the rest of the pole.
I'll follow Ramelzi out.
If you need meat, man, if you need food, I will buy you soup. Leave the body at rest. That is horrible. What is wrong with you?
I'll stand behind Ramelzi too.
He kind of tilts his head a little bit, and then he puts his face on the ground and puts his arms out in front of him, and you'll see that there's like marks all over his arms, and he just lays there.
Marks like writing?
Like old wounds, scars maybe from beating, and it almost looks like he's prepared to get beat.
This man's mind has obviously been destroyed, but he submits to us like if he was a low form, some type of animal. Even I wouldn't know what to do for this man's mind.
The all has eaten already. It's my turn.
It looks like the result of that night Tiberius. His ill treatment of these people.
The goddess feasted on the flesh. This is my due. I take her to the mountains.
Who do you answer to? Who's in the mountains that you must take it to?
The spirits.
Do you two have the power of arrest? We might want to get this guy off the street.
Yes, much because of my appearance and my abilities. But yes, that sounds like we definitely need to remove him.
The spirits rule all. I'm allowed. The spirits.
My friend, you follow false spirits. This is not healthy. Your body reflects your misleading life.
While you're talking, he just suddenly goes over to the bag and starts feasting on the thigh bone of the woman, and you just hear
Yes.
as it rips a giant
Kick it out
chunk
of
of
his
flesh. What's that?
Can I kick it out of his hand?
Yeah, you can try. How about you roll under dexterity or something like that
Dexterity?
on a d20?
I rolled a 9. My dex is 14.
Okay, so the Bo the dwarf deftly goes over and kicks the flesh, the leg out of his hands. He still has a hunk of like skin stuck between his body. And the flesh is, I mean, it's been torn to shreds by crows for the last several days to a week. You're not real sure. And, but yeah, he's got dead woman flesh hanging out of the bottom of his teeth. So.
Yes, I know this is a horrible sight, but I cannot let a man do this in front of me. I say we take him to the jail. Tell the constable.
Bo, did you back off once you kicked, or did you stand where you were?
Yeah, you probably would have, like, sort of taken a few steps back just from the...
Okay,
horror.
if you take a step back, he will lunge back into the bag of flesh and continue to feast.
Ugh.
Mine! Spirits, give it to me!
I'll move over and help pull him off so we can arrest this guy.
I can pull my rope out and
I'll help Rayhan pull him away from the bag.
Okay, so is everybody helping? I guess that's what I'm asking.
couldn't quite hear that.
Oh, is everybody asking? Or everybody helping?
Yeah, I'm throwing a rope around him,
Okay.
trying to like kind of what do you call it, lasso style around his body and arms.
Okay,
Trying to tie him up as he's being held by Rayhan, Bo, and Temper, I believe. Are you there, Temper?
Yeah, I'm there, but I'm looking for any local townsperson that might be nearby.
Okay.
it seems like everyone is looking out the windows, but no one's out in town center. They're just sort of watching. And the man doesn't... Oh, go ahead.
I'll just shout to one of the locals. Who is this man? Is he some sort of bone collector?
You'll see the blinds in the window close. The man...
Drag him to prison.
So the remains are just sitting there in the streets.
Yeah, there's like a half torn open bag of flesh now. Old flesh.
I'll collect the bag up as best I can and bring it with us.
It's kind of like if a garbage bag gets ripped open by a dog or a cat or a raccoon in the middle of the night. And so that's that's the sort of scene.
I'll hold it at arm's length for sure.
And spirits, let me do this! You stop me, spirits!
You have strong resolve, Bo. I could not carry that flesh myself.
Don't remind me.
Yeah, so I say we drag this man off to jail for now. Be done with this small issue and move on. Like I say, these new feelings and emotions and sensitivities that I have must be explored.
Yes, Ramosi, I've noticed you seem to be overcome by your profound experiences of yesterday.
No strength in me to resist the transfiguration whatsoever. So I must continue searching for the light and spreading the light. And I now realize that the great responsibility of deciding good comes with a weight of others. Not so quick to see the light the way I do. These are things I am now discovering.
Let's just move on. I can still hear him.
Still smelling.
I'll glance over at Peter and I'll ask, has the knight returned from his journey? Or is he still out?
He was in the vicinity. Oh, you didn't hear that? I'm sorry. There are rumors that he is in the vicinity.
Okay. I'll nod.
No sense letting this stew go. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
There's no sense letting this stew go to waste, so here you go, Peter. If you still have an appetite.
So what is our plan? of action. I know that if we've run into the knight, he'll have his soldiers, perhaps, unless the gypsies made their way against the knight and his soldiers.
These gypsies, are these anyone we care about?
In my opinion, I feel that they are innocent entertainers, and yes, I'm sure their children have quick hands and quick feet, like all travelers do. But
Do tell, after the knight rode out of town in pursuit of the gypsies, my duel was canceled. I've just been staying with the witch until last night, that is.
The two of us, and I'll gesture to Ramalzi, attempted to solve the mystery we were left with as to who is the killer. We were headed to see the priest and received divine coordination to go towards a field of grain where we saw the angel and he spoke to us in our minds. Told us that there is an archdevil, an archdemon populating the realm with his children. One such child was in the village, perhaps more. You have seen, and I'll glance at everyone. I'll look at everyone in the eyes, and I'll say, I see the hand of evil all around us. It's good to know that we have been called upon to help deal with it, and that we did. The child demon was found. It seemed that every day its mother birthed another, and only this sword could put him down. Had it not been for Ramalzi, I would have died if this happened, just to me. But Artha, the sun god, has chosen the two of us. And perhaps you, if you were not with that woman.
I express a grateful facial expression towards Rayhan. Yes, my changes, the adversity of this.
And it bothers you. You can't figure out how it was forged.
I put it down immediately.
And another thing, too, even before you put it down, you swear for a brief moment you catch a glimpse of a woman standing behind Ramalzi, and she's smiling at you, but then the vision seems to go away from your sight.
Yeah, I sort of jump back or just skitter back in my chair a little bit. Yeah, I drop it immediately. Ugh.
I grab the hilt and tuck it back into my backpack quickly. I'm a little out of breath from the experience once again. I didn't want to get too carried away in the middle of the tavern with the magic of the sword.
Dumbledore, are you all right?
Something's wrong with that thing.
Yes, it is powerful, great mystery. It holds mother as of now. So it's a bittersweet possession.
It seems like you two have been through a profound experience.
Yes, but the light is taking care of us.
So where do we go from here?
Here is what we uncovered afterwards.
Do tell.
We went to the house where the priest resided with the knights and the squire. We told him of our suspicions, and we asked to see the squire's room. Took a look around, and we found unbecoming paraphernalia, stories, pictures of men and women in salacious acts, and that would link him to the costume of the bumblebee.
Ah,
The bandit.
Yes.
right.
The priest.
Dumbledore wouldn't know about that.
Yeah, we have a mad lunatic running around this town, supposedly, that likes his women and his costumes. Sick man, sick man.
We have been hired, and we will be paid upon solving the issue.
Humans never cease to amaze me.
Yes, very variable we are.
We are glad that you are here, so you can share your opinion. The two of us, Ramal and I'll say, but we will need some sort of proof to show to the woman that hired us.
Are we getting paid for this?
A good sum of coin.
Well, you can count on me. Although I don't like these methods, I prefer a straight-up fight to an ambush.
You might
I'm with you,
get
too.
your straight-up fight. If the knight comes back in time, or is the fight cancelled completely? The duel that was arranged.
The duel was canceled?
I shrug. I'll say the knight is not here.
Yes, he rode off after those gypsies.
So he missed the time of the duel already. Does that make you a winner?
Perhaps it does, but you know him, and his will probably have me arrested.
So, we must figure out if this assassination we're going to attempt, if the squire is going to be there at the same time every night. I think our friend Owen might know if we could run into him again. The so-called invisible boy.
The invisible boy. Yes. Bumbledore, you'll be interested to meet him. The invisible boy who's not terribly invisible.
This is a strange town. Is this house we are ambushing this man at, is this a very public place?
This is an outhouse. Mind you, we've been made deputies